Students, today we are discussing or study about the biodiversity conservation. Now, why should we conserve biodiversity? There are many arguments given. Narrowly utilitarian argument. What are these? Views biodiversity as a source of various products. Means what are the benefits from biodiversity? Number one, food, cereals, pulses, fruits, firewood, firewood, fiber, construction material, industrial products, products of medical importance. Also, bioprospectings, exploring molecules, genetics, and species level diversity for products of economic importance. Now, second one, broadly broadly utilitarian. What are these arguments? These argues about many ecosystem services that nature provides. For example, number one, Amazon forest produce 20% of total oxygen. 20% of total oxygen in the atmosphere via photosynthesis. Second one, pollination. Ecosystem provides pollinator layers, bees, bumblebees, birds, and bats. Example third one example also, the aesthetic pleasure of walking through thick woods, watching spring flowers in full blooms, or waking up to a bulbul songs in the morning. Also, we can conclude the some other argument, ethical argument. What are ethical argument? We share the planets with millions of plants, animals, and microbe species. Every species has an intrinsic value, even if it does not have any economic value. We have a moral duty to care for their well-beings and pass on our biological legacy in good order to future generations. Now, how do we conserve biodiversity? As we know, the conservation of biodiversity is very important. But the question is, how do we conserve biodiversity? There are two ways. In situ conservation means on-site conservation and protection of entire ecosystem, biodiversity at all levels of protected. Now, biodiversity hotspots, you should also know what are biodiversity hotspots. Reason with we can write biodiversity hotspots region with very high level of species richness and high degree of endemism that are identified for maximum protection. Total biodiversity hotspots in the world is 34. Biodiversity hotspots of India with exceptionally high biodiversity. Number 1, Western Ghats and Sri Lanka. Western Ghats and Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka. Include entire Western Ghats and Sri Lanka. Second one, Indo-Burma. Indo-Burma. It includes entire northeastern India except Assam and Andaman groups of island and Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, southern China, etc. Third one, Himalaya. It includes the entire Indian Himalayan regions and that falling in Pakistan, Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, China and Myanmar. In India, ecologically unique and biodiversity rich regions are legally protected as number 1, Biosphere Reserve. These are 14 biosphere, you should remember here it, Biosphere Reserve, that are 14. National parks 90. And third one, sanctuaries, these are 448. Sacred groups, some are sacred groups, these are forest fragment, sacred groups, these are forest fragment of varying size which are communally protected and which usually have a significant religious connotation for the protecting community. Hunting and logging are usually strictly prohibited within these patches. Example number 1, Khasi and Jaintia Hills in Meghalaya. Second one, Western Ghat of Karnataka and Maharashtra. And third one also, Sarguja, Chanda and Bastar areas of Madhya Pradesh. Now, on situ conservation. Another type is ex situ conservation. It is also known off-site conservation, usually approached when the plants or animals is endangered or threatens and needs urgent measures to save from extinction. In that conditions, ex situ conservation is done. Usually, here the threatened plants or animals are removed from their natural habitats and are placed in special protected areas where they can be given special care. There are some methods for it. Number 1, zoological park. Number 1, zoological parks. Many animals that have become extinct in the wild but continue to be maintained in zoological park. Also second one, park, botanical, also garden can say, botanical garden. Third, wildlife safari. Also fourth method is cryopreservation techniques. The very improved methods preservation cryopreservation technique. In this techniques, using this technique, the gametes of threatened species can be preserved in viable and fertile condition for a long periods. Very modern technique. Also, eggs can be fertilized using in vitro technique. Method number 5, seed bank. Using this method, seeds of different genetic strains of commercially important plants can be kept for a long period. Now, biodiversity conservation measures at global level. Global level, the Earth Summit. Earth Summit 1992. Convention on Biological Diversity held in Rio de, note down it, Rio de Janeiro, for conservation of biodiversity and sustainable utilization for its benefits. And second one, World Summit on sustainable development in 2002, held in Johannesburg, South Africa. Also commitment by 190 countries. Write down 190 countries for a significant reduction in the current rate of biodiversity loss at global, regional and local levels. Now this is all about the year 15 chapter.